Lucky Broken Girl, Chapter 8. Get Well. In the morning, Mrs. Sirota pays me a visit. It's the first time a teacher has ever come to our house. She brings a Get Well card signed by the kids in my old class. Their messages have lots of spelling mistakes, but they are so sweet. Sorry you broke your leg, Ruthie. Must hurt really bad. I feel terrible you cannot go out to the park and play like a regular kid. Hope you get well real fast. Mommy lifts the sheets on either side of me so Mrs. Sirota can see the cast. I don't worry anymore about people seeing me naked. Now I keep a towel over my private parts. That way I'm always covered. Mrs. Sirota looks like she's going to have a heart attack when she sees my body in the cast, the plaster reaching all the way to my chest so I can't even sit up. I'm going to inform the school right away, she says in a serious voice. This is terrible, just terrible. I don't think Mrs. Sirota realizes she's making me feel like I'm a rotten person for making her feel so bad. She asks Mommy, how long will Ruth need to be in this cast? Mommy glances to be sure she understands the question. After I translate it into Spanish, she says, a long time. The doctor's muy sorry, muy sad. That is such a pity, Mrs. Sirota replies, and I just promoted Ruth. Why is Mrs. Sirota talking like I'm not there? I'm not going to have to go back to the dumb class, am I? I ask. Mrs. Sirota pats my head. Why does everyone pat my head? You poor dear, Mrs. Sirota replies. I'm going to do everything in my power to help you. That afternoon, Ramu slips a letter under the door. After Mummy brings it to me, I just hold it for a while and enjoy its aroma. It smells warm and spicy and also sweet from the sandalwood incense that Ramu's mother burns in their apartment to keep the spirits happy. Ramu writes, Dear Ruthie, I hope you will get well soon. I am sad you got hurt and you didn't get to join the smart class with me. It is lonely there by myself, not knowing anyone. I am sorry I can't visit you. My mother still doesn't want Avec and me to play with kids who aren't Indian like us. I miss you. I promise one day I will sneak out and see you. Your friend, Ramu. P.S. Avec says he also misses you. I ask Mommy for a pen and paper and I write back a letter to Ramu, even though it takes a long time. I have to hold the pad up in the air with one arm and try to carefully write the words down so they don't come out too sloppy. It's hard to write when you're flat on your back and squeezed into a body cast. Dear Ramu, everyone says get well and that is nice, but it will be months and months before I get well. I have to lie in bed and wait and hope. Even the doctor says there are no guarantees. He told me to pray to God and all the saints. I used to pray. I never used to pray, but now I do say little prayers. I wish you didn't feel lonely in class. Pretend I'm sitting next to you and we are reading The Princess Who Could Not Cry, like we used to. I miss you too, and I miss Avec. Tell your mother I know about guavas and mangoes. That makes me a little bit Indian, don't you think? Your friend, Ruthie. P.S. I'm going to ask Izzy to place this letter in your hands so you don't get in trouble. When Izzy comes home from playing, Mommy orders him to wash up and change his clothes before she'll let him have his chocolate milk. I hear them yelling at each other in the living room. Mommy, I'm thirsty. Let me have a sip. No, mi niño. Do as I say, por favor. Or do you want me to tell Papi when he gets home? Izzy storms into the room. Hi, Woofy, he says. Mommy is being very mean today. She's just tired, Izzy. Be a good boy, okay? Okay, thanks, Roofy, he says and reaches over and hugs me. He smells like the street, like the grass I can't step on. Izzy throws open a drawer and pulls out clean pants and a clean shirt. I turn my head as he slips out of the old clothes into the new. We've always shared a room, so we're used to looking away when one of us is changing. He's about to rush out of the room, then turns back and asks, Hey, Woofy, want some chocolate milk? I can't have any. Mommy says I'll burst out of the cast. I tell him, trying to act like it's funny, but Izzy realizes it's not funny. Sorry, Woofy, he says. You can't have cookies. You can't have chocolate milk. What can you have that's good? Maybe you could bring me a glass of water? Sure. He runs off on legs that he knows will take him where he wants to go. I've already forgotten what that feels like. A minute later, he runs back with water for me. Here, Woofy. Izzy watches as I sip the water slowly so I don't spill it. I dip my face down as if I had a beak and were a sparrow drinking from a fountain. It's going to take you till tomorrow to finish that water, he says. That's okay, I'm not going anywhere, I say. Roofy, that's not funny. Well, In the hospital, they had straws. That made it easier. Izzy shakes his head and looks sad. He runs out and I hear him to say, Mommy, we don't have any? Not even one? Mommy says, go ask Aunt Sylvie. Maybe she'll have some. The front door slams as Izzy rushes out. I imagine him racing down the stairs to the fourth floor. Minutes later, he's back. Look what I got you, Woofy. He passes me a straw and I drop it in the glass. Finally, I can hold the glass straight. It's a relief to hear that slurping sound as I drink my way down to the bottom. That was sweet of you, Izzy, I say. He shrugs. I look at my little brother, and now I notice the bald spot on the side of his head where they shaved his hair. I realize no one's been telling him to get well. No one's been trying to comfort him. He was in the accident, too. I was wondering, Izzy, those stitches on your head, do they hurt? Sometimes they hurt. Poppy said not to complain. Well, you can complain to me. I promise not to tell anybody. Izzy draws closer and whispers in my ear. The stitches hurt a lot when I put my head down on the pillow, but then I fall asleep and I forget they hurt. The stitches are still fresh, but you'll be better soon. Woofy, it was spooky. The doctor sewed me up with a needle and a thread like I was a pair of pants. Wow, Izzy, you saw him? Yeah, I was awake. Hey, Izzy. What, Woofy? I remember the letter to Ramu. Can I ask you for a favor? Yeah, sure. Will you give this letter to Ramu tomorrow? If you don't see him on the way to school, then give it to him in the cafeteria. Put it in his hand, okay? Okay. Izzy stuffs the letter into his pants pocket. The next day, Izzy gives Ramu my letter in the cafeteria. He comes home with something hidden inside his lunchbox, a gift from Ramu. Quick, eat it before Mommy finds out, Izzy says. It's a samosa with a crispy, soft potato filling, and it's a bit spicy and tastes even better than the first time. As I hurry to finish the last delicious bite, I feel a sudden sadness in the pit of my stomach, knowing it will be a long time before I can give my friend Ramu a sweet guava pastry in return. Chapter 9. A Teacher All to Myself. Mrs. Sirota keeps her promise. The following week, the school sends a tutor to our house who will come 3 times a week. I've never had a teacher all to myself. Her name is Miss Hoffman, but she tells me to call her Joy. She's wearing bell-bottom pants and a peasant blouse with puffy sleeves, and she has dangling earrings. You look like a hippie, not a teacher, I say. She laughs. You're right. I am a bit of a hippie. I believe in love, peace, and flower power, but I'm also a teacher. That's good, I say to Joy, because I don't want them to send me back to the dumb class after missing so much school. That won't happen, Joy says. Not if we keep your brain working. Being bedridden shouldn't hold you back. Bedridden? The word sounds to me like a witch's curse. And you, Ruth, will be bedridden for the rest of your days. Mommy and Joy set up a chair and a table next to my bed, and that becomes my classroom. Joy arrives late in the morning after Poppy has left for work and Izzy has gone to school. Mommy makes toasted Thomas English muffins for both of us. She gives Joy a whole muffin spread with butter. I get half a muffin with a dab of butter so I don't get too fat to fit in my cast. Joy reads out a list of words and asks me to spell each one and tell her what it means. They're easy words and I know them all. Far out, Joy says, after I get the words right. You're so smart. I'm surprised they kept you in the remedial class for so long. I always knew I wasn't dumb. Before she leaves, Joy gives me a book of stories by Hans Christian Andersen. She tells me to choose one story and write an explanation of what I learned from reading it. I choose The Red Shoes. This is what I write. The Red Shoes is about a girl named Karen. Her mother dies and Karen almost starves to death, but an old woman adopts her. One day, Karen gets a new pair of red shoes. Back then, good girls only wore black shoes. Red shoes were for bad girls. The old woman gets sick, but Karen puts on the red shoes and goes to a party anyway. On the dance floor, the shoes take over. Karen can't stop dancing, and she can't take off the shoes. They stick to her feet. She dances for days and days, forgetting about the old woman. Karen learns that the old woman has died. She didn't even say goodbye to the old woman who saved her life. It was the fault of the red shoes. An angel had put a curse on her. Dance in your red shoes till your skin shrivels up and you are a skeleton. Chop off my feet, she begs, and they chop them off, and the shoes keep dancing by themselves, her feet still inside them. She cries and cries, asking for forgiveness, until finally another angel takes pity on her. She dies, and he takes her to heaven on his wings. I could relate to this story because having my legs in a cast feel like they've been chopped off. I know they haven't been. They're still there. Yes, I have legs. I just can't see them, or move them, or feel them. Good job, Ruthie, Joy says. You get a gold star. I feel happy when Joy pastes a gold star in my notebook, although I think maybe part of the reason I'm getting it is because Joy feels sorry for me. She sees how hard it is for me to write lying flat on my back in bed. I find out that it's just as hard to read lying on my back as it is to write. I have to balance my book on the edge of the cast and lift my head to see the pages. When my neck gets tired and achy, I let my head fall back on the pillow and hold the book straight above me. Then my arms get tired and achy, and I give up and stare at the ceiling. Sometimes when my whole body aches like this, I close my eyes and pretend I am lying on my favorite beach in Cuba. It had a curious name, Playa Vaquita, which means little cow beach, and the sand was like silk. When the tide was low, long zigzagging sandbars would form. I could wade into the deep end without being afraid. The water wouldn't come any higher than my knees. I remember laughing and running on the beach, trying to keep my kite from falling down into the sky. I wish I had strong legs to run on the beach with a kite. It doesn't have to be Playa Vaquita. Any beach will do. I wish I had long arms like an octopus. I'd paste gold stars on the ceiling and imagine them twinkling day and night. Those are my big wishes. My small wish is to look out the window and just see the world. But the window is behind me. I can't see the sun or the clouds. I can't say good night, moon, before going to bed. It's just the ceiling and me. Dear God, thank you for sending Joy to be my teacher. She is a very nice teacher. I am learning a lot and getting smarter every day. But if I had to choose between going back to the dumb class and not being able to walk, I would ask you to send me to the dumb class. Ruthie. Chapter 10. If Mommy Stops Taking Care of Me. Time is different when you can't leave your bed. The days go slowly because they all seem the same. Not moving, not going anywhere, always in the same place. It's hard to tell if a new day has begun or an old day has ended. So Joy gets me a calendar to keep track of the days. The months are stapled onto a piece of cardboard. I've torn off January, February, March, and April, the month the accident happened. 4 weeks in the body cast and counting. Now I know why they call sick people by the word patient. The patient has to have patience. Wait and wait and wait and not lose hope. It feels good to cross off days on the calendar. When May passes, I'll tear it off and that will feel good too. And then June and July, those months will come and they will pass. So many months. Maybe in August I will get my body cast off. I hope, I hope, I hope. It's a Sunday morning, and the sun is just coming out when I open my eyes. The light streams in from the window that's behind my bed and feels like a golden cape around my shoulders. I lie in bed, stare at the ceiling. I need to pee, but I hold it in. I don't want to bother Mommy. She's sleeping, and I feel bad making her get up to bring me the bedpan. When Izzy wakes up and jumps out of bed, I close my eyes and pretend to be asleep. He rushes to the living room to wake up Mommy and Poppy, cuddling with them on the sofa bed until they're ready to get up. I hear them all giggling and laughing. They forget all about me. Then Mommy comes rushing, like an alarm went off in her head, and she remembers she has a daughter who can't leave her bed. She brings the bedpan and a basin of water for me to wash my hands. After I'm done, she and Poppy and Izzy eat breakfast in the dining room, while I eat from a tray that sits on top of my cast. It's a little lonely eating by myself, but I'm getting better at balancing the tray and keeping my food from spilling all over the place. Then Izzy comes to say goodbye. He's wearing his patched up pants and a t-shirt, no jacket. Must be nice outside now. Yeah, it's nice, he says. There are flowers all over the place. Too bad we can't walk on the grass or I'd bring you one. That's okay, Izzy. You enjoy looking at them, I say. I promise, Woofy. I'll look at them a lot, a lot, a lot. That makes me smile. I don't want him to feel sorry for me. It's not his fault I broke my leg. See you later, Woofy, he says, and he's out the door. Poppy comes in next. He's dressed in black slacks and a red shirt and a red cap that says Avis Rent-A-Car. Where are you going, Poppy? I have to work, Ruti, just a couple of hours. Do you have a new job, Poppy? Si, mihija. I am starting today. I'll get to decide what cars to give people. If they don't make a face when I speak English, they'll get a nice car. If they act like they can't understand me, I'll give them the worst car they have at Avis. Poppy and I laugh. That's funny, Poppy. But now you work every day, Monday to Sunday. We need a little extra money, mihija. The good thing is that in this glorious country there's plenty of work for everybody. He bends his head so I can give him a kiss on the cheek. Now give your Poppy a big hug. I reach my arms up as high as I can and hug around the neck, smelling his familiar Old Spice. Bye, Poppy. Everyone is always leaving, and I am always saying goodbye since I can't go anywhere. My bed is my island. My bed is my prison. My bed is my home. Hands soapy from washing dishes, Mommy pops her head in. You have company! Your Ziad is here! When he appears in the doorway, I yell out, Yay, Ziad, come in! Ziad's green eyes shine when he sees me. He often brings me a gift, something unusual like a keychain with a Gumby hanging from it, or a crinkly fan with a picture of an old-fashioned lady in an evening gown. This time he brings me a big bottle of prune juice, pours a glass for me, and drops in a straw. Why are you giving me juice? I ask. Muy bueno, he replies. It will help you. He gulps down a glassful to show me how tasty it is. I don't want to drink that yet. It doesn't look good. Try it. You'll like it. Just a little, he says in his whispery, gentle voice. I sip some of the prune juice just to please Zied, but I can't get it down my throat. It's the yuckiest thing I've ever tasted. I spit some out, and a big black blob lands on the white blouse Mommy washed and ironed for me. Sorry, Ziad, I whimper, ready to cry. Staining my white blouse with my spit out juice makes me feel like the grossest person in the world. Mommy comes in marching in, furious. Why didn't you drink the prune juice? She says. I don't like it. You need to poop or you're going to explode. It's been 2 weeks since you've made caca. Mommy, don't use that word. It's embarrassing. Caca, caca, caca. You have to make caca, she shouts. She's gotten good at turning me on my stomach. Before I know what's happening, she's reached for the pole between my legs and flipped me over. Wait! Tell Ziad to leave. I don't want him to see. I'm going out, Ruthie, don't worry, Ziad says in his whispery, gentle voice. Mommy slips something inside my butt that feels like a stick of butter. Stop, Mommy, stop! I scream. You have to poop. Everyone has to poop. My insides start gurgling. Oh no, get the bedpan. Turn me around fast. Mommy flips me on my back again, and I can't stop the black liquid from pouring out of my body. It's a stinky, stinky river. You've held it in for weeks. Why can't you wait a minute now? Mommy yells. She goes running out of the room and runs back with the bedpan, but it's too late. The sheets will have to be changed. Mommy puts the bedpan underneath me anyway. Change the sheets, I cry. Mommy, please. I will in a minute, Mommy says and sighs as she turns to leave. I hear Mommy and Ziad talking in the living room. I try my best, Poppy. Papa, sometimes I just reach my limit. Ruthie is a good girl, but she's suffering and you're suffering too with her. Papa, I know I shouldn't say this, but I feel like I'm going crazy being cooped up all day in this tiny apartment like I am in prison. I know, Mihija, I know. But it is not Ruthie's fault. She is stuck in here all day too, wishing she could walk and run like children do. I don't know how we are going to survive this, Papa. As the saying goes, no al me que dure 100 anos. I translate the words I just heard. There's no pain that can last 100 years? That better be true. Then I hear Mommy respond sadly. I hope you're right, Papa. I smell the sugary Cuban coffee Mommy must be making. Hear the china cups tinkle in their saucers. If I could, I'd run to the living room and fling the coffee cups out of their hands. But I can't do anything except lie in my poop and wait. Finally, Mommy returns. She enters the room and whips the dirty sheets off the bed. She gives me a wet towel to scrub myself as she lifts me with the pole. Then she brings a basin with soap and water and I wash my hands. Finally, she puts clean sheets on the bed, stretching the cloth tightly at the four corners. As she gathers the dirty sheets, she looks at me like I am the most disgusting creature in the world, an animal, a pig. I'm sorry, Mommy. I'm really sorry. Mommy doesn't answer. She walks out carrying the dirty sheets. She doesn't come back for a long time. I am thirsty. I want water. I am lonely. But I know better than to ask Mommy for anything when she's tired of me. I promise myself I won't call on her even if I have to wait hours and hours. I open up the book of Hans Christian Andersen stories and read the words I know by heart. Far out in the ocean, where the water is as blue as the prettiest cornflower and as clear as crystal, it is very, very deep. Oh, if only I could swim in the ocean like the little mermaid, then I wouldn't mind my cast so much. It's late in the day when Mommy comes back to my room, bringing me lunch on a tray. An open-faced grilled cheese sandwich with just one slice of bread, an apple cut in wedges, and a glass of water. She has taken a shower and is wearing a satiny blouse the color of sea coral and a tight skirt, lipstick as red as hibiscus flowers, and high heels with open toes, as if she were going someplace fancy, not stuck at home with a daughter who can't get out of bed. Gracias, Mommy, I say in my sweetest voice. You look beautiful. She just barely nods. Mommy, do you still love me? Of course I still love you, she snaps. She looks sadder than ever. I know Mommy has to love me. I'm her daughter. And I wish she didn't have to be shut up in the house with me all day, too. I want her to go out. I want the world to look at her. She's too pretty to be trapped in a cage. The only problem is, if Mommy leaves me, I'll die, and I don't want to die. I want to grow up. I want to travel the world and wander in sand dunes and climb to the top of snow-capped mountains. I'll visit cities that have beautiful names like Ipanema and Kyoto. I'll do so much. Someday. In the meantime, I'm just a girl going nowhere.